Yeah, Office Space style, and he's all,
What's that?
fucking no. He was like, yes, yes. Let's curb stomp that shit.
All right, we should be live now.
We are.
Okay, cool. We'll give people a few minutes. Close. That movie is. I think that movie's pretty timeless, man. It's gonna.
Would you say it's a perfect movie?
Pretty close.
I mean, it's pretty damn good.
It depends on my mood. Like perfect movie.
It's no Transformers.
Oh,
God!
It's no.
It's no Tombstone.
Spider-Man
Tombstone's
Into the
the
Spider-Verse.
perfect movie.
No,
No,
It's
come
no.
on. I'm your Huckleberry.
that's true. Damn it, dude. That's a good runner-up too.
Yeah.
Runner up. That's the leader in the
Oh,
leader
the
of the
pack?
pack.
That's the one you're gonna go with. The perfect movie is
Tombstone.
It's pretty damn good, man.
It's pretty tight, dude. Beat it down.
Top Gun,
Sounds good.
the first one.
Yeah, the first one. A little. Top Gun's a little predictable.
You've seen Quentin Tarantino's? It's like part of a movie where he's
Pulp
explaining.
Pulp Fiction's.
Yes.
When he's
is
explaining
perfect.
Top Gun, it's like a 2-minute rant. It's a scene from a movie that Quentin Tarantino was in, and they're talking. They're like at a party,
Yeah,
and they're talking about
I've seen
what
yes,
Top Gun's
yes.
really about.
Yes. About yes.
So
Latent stuff. Yeah. I have seen that.
yeah. Man, but Tombstone.
Oh, Betty White, The Jerk is a good movie.
I have not.
He's after the bottles or the oil cans. Like,
I would need to go back and watch that one.
oh, that is a great scene where
I don't know, but
Smokey-
Heat's pretty
what-
good.
Smoking. The
Oh,
Bandit.
I just watched Heat
Dude, I watch Heat at least once a month.
7.
once a month.
Once a month.
Wow, no, I was gonna say
That's
Heat's-
borderline autism. That's like
Hey, bro, I'm on the spectrum.
yeah. He hates these cans.
What about 7?
Yes.
That one's good too.
Yes,
man.
I would
good.
say 7 is one of the few movies that I went and saw in the theaters multiple times for a couple reasons. One, it was a great movie. 2, I was taking girls that weren't my girlfriend on dates, and I needed to go see movies. I told my one girlfriend I was going to see. It was just all the same movie. I figured if I just saw the same movie, I was covered.
Oh, I see.
So smart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they wouldn't come see this movie again. I'm safe.
yeah, I was safe. You want to go see 7 again? Again for the 3rd time? Yeah, me and Bob are going.
Oh, Usual Suspects is a good one.
Yeah, it is.
I talk about that's my because I work for Kaiser.
Kaiser Soze.
So my fantasy football name is Kaiser Soze's of South Bay. But whatever. Nobody in the fantasy league knows what the fuck I'm talking about.
Are they all too young?
Yeah, that's like an older movie. That movie's like 30 years old now.
Oh, and all movies are 30 years old now.
That
That's
is
just
an
a movie-
all-timer.
That's just a movie from the 90s, bro.
That shit is 30 years old now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jose. I didn't mean to do math in front of you and scare you.
I know, dude.
But somebody does turn 50 this week.
Yes, they do. It's not me.
It's not me.
All right, okay, that's Nick, are you ready to go?
I just opened the door for a
'cause we're-
bunch of
yeah,
shit
we're about to get into
later.
this.
Oh, man.
You ready?
We can talk about that later, right?
Yeah.
We'll come back to
Please
that.
don't.
You
Please
ready?
don't, Nick.
Uh,
Leave me alone, Nick. You just met me. You like me. We're good. We're chummy.
okay. 3,
Nick's like, nope.
3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's 6:30 on Tuesday night. We are live on YouTube as we are on Tuesday nights. We are joined tonight by someone that's going to try to make the first of all, welcome from the other side of tropical apocalypse. We made it through
It was a
hurricane.
It was scary.
Hurricane. We made it through tropical
Like
apocalypse.
never.
Hey, dude, what was that about?
We'll get into that, I'm sure. And we're joined by someone that's going to try to make, since they survived tropical apocalypse, they're going to try to make that trip from Southern California up to Overland Expo Mountain West to be in the peak suspension booth. How are you doing tonight, Nick?
So everybody.
So Nick
Good job,
Psomas from Peak Suspension. You have. I'm trying to think about the first time we ran into each other. You have been running around the off-road overland scene here in Southern California for a long time. There is a video of us ripping on you about your Bronco build at the adventure pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
It's like during COVID, but yeah.
It was like the day of COVID,
Yeah.
and there's
That one day?
and there was a good clip of us talking about your Bronco build. We'll get into that, but what's your background, man? How long have you been in the off-road scene and here at Peak?
So I've been in automotive and off-road my entire life, practically from trucks to dirt bikes to quads to everything in between. I started Peak in 2018, kind of as an accident, and I bought a Colorado diesel in 2016, and nobody made anything for it. It was a diesel. It was the coolest thing ever. So I wanted a mid-sized truck to tow my race car at the time, and I never ended up towing the race car ever. But I was already into modifying vehicles. I've been doing it my entire life. And I sat down with some friends about making coilovers. And a couple of those guys worked at Ibach at the time. And so the entire thing started with learning that I could private label our original shocks, the 2.0 coilovers, which no one made coilovers at the time, for not a whole lot of money, but it was a pretty decent, sizable investment. But once I learned that, it actually wasn't that bad. And we ended up pre-selling the entire run in a day. So that's kind of how it was born. And I guess people wanted them. So from there, we just kind of kept rolling over into new products and, kind of trying to find niches in the market that nobody was making products for, specifically for the Colorado platform. Because, Toyota was king. Everyone had a Tacoma and 4Runner. And so the Frontier, I don't think was out yet. So it really came down to kind of those three. The Ranger was gone. So we really focused on that market, and we just really blew up in that Colorado scene. So it all started by, like I said, kind of an accident, and I'm still here.
Well, there's a lot of companies that started out of someone going, "Damn it, I want this for my truck, and I can't find it anywhere, so I'm gonna have to make it myself." And I think that's the beginning of a lot of organizations that then gain momentum. And if you want it for your truck, there's bound to be somebody else out there that wants it. And the Colorado, it's a fantastic truck, and they sold a ton of them. And it was just a matter of time before someone had to step in and fill that niche.
Well, it's kind of neat because when I bought the truck, I come from like desert racing background, off-road pre-runner stuff. So my whole thought process was I bought a two-wheel drive, I ordered it the way I wanted it, and I was going to build a diesel long travel pre-runner. That was the goal. And then all of a sudden, this Overland thing became popular, and so I ended up like building an Overland truck that was two-wheel drive. But it's still, it got me everywhere. I had a rear locker on it, so that's more than enough to get you most places. And then this Overland thing hasn't gone away, so we've kind of been building a lot more of a market share in that segment specifically, because the off-road, pre-runner desert scene, it's very unique in its own way. It doesn't really deviate much from the same norm. It's usually mid-travel, long travel stuff. It's bed cages. There's not a whole lot of carryover from the Overland market and the general off-road market. But the shocks we were making were just a standard OE replacement shock with better valving, better spring rates. So we weren't quite in the desert realm. So we kind of just lived in the Overland realm, and it just, stuck with that, and we're still here.
Yeah, one thing I've seen recently, not recently, but I've paid attention to more is that's making, I think, a little bit of a transition between the two is fiberglass fenders. I feel like the fiberglass flared out fenders was a staple in the desert scene. Didn't have to cut anything. You just pulled the fender off, put a fiberglass one on. And now you're seeing companies like APG for a lot of the Ford products make those not as desert racy fiberglass fender flares, but there was a Tacoma driving through the neighborhood the other day that it was an all-white Tacoma with all four corners were fiberglass, just enough of a flare for him to get 35s on there with a minimal lift. It looked super clean.
Yep.
Super clean.
And the quality of those things went up too. Like it used to be like horrible, like
because
fiberglass.
They were tearaway.
Yeah.
For the desert scene, they were tear. When they hit, they blew up, and you put another one on, and they're now making them as permanent fixtures.
Well, even for like the Bronco specifically, you literally bolt off you unbolt the panels from the factory and bolt on the new fiberglass flares, and you don't cut anything out. You're literally replacing the entire body panel with a fiberglass part. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
they have to up the game as far as the
the fitment.
build quality and fit and finish. And we're probably all seen it at one point or another trying to fit fiberglass flares in a vehicle, and it's been a nightmare. Normally, it never fits properly. You're cutting a lot of stuff. You're molding and blending, and so a lot of the times now they're ready to go. You just paint them and put them on, which is great.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
even now, like some companies offer them painted and
Yeah.
Yeah,
finished.
yeah, to match
Yeah,
factory.
yeah.
I always think about that. I always wonder when you see those people that have like a black truck and four corners with white fiberglass. I'm like, were you gonna wrap it, or like have you not gotten there yet, or paste it, or
baby
paint
steps.
it, or what's going on there?
The light bar's not gonna by itself.
No, the light bar does not by itself. 100% it does not.
It's kind of a trend, honestly. Like in like the Terra Crew guys, it's almost like
Yeah,
it's
it is
almost
there.
like, hey, look, I have fiberglass fenders. Because if you
Yeah.
paint it, it kind of blends in and goes away. I think I have too much OCD to leave that alone, but some people like it. They just want that, hey, look, I got fenders look.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
big
it's something.
flex. The big flex now is like carbon fiber parts.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if you don't paint that.
Oh, there's companies like Baja Forge that are making custom carbon fiber either flares or panels or whatever, and they super clean. So 2018, you decide you're gonna start doing this, and how when this started, how many of you were involved in peak suspension at the time?
Just me and a friend of mine. So we both started it. We both had full-time jobs. Um, Long story short, we kind of split off after a few years. We had some differences in where the direction we wanted to go with the company. And so I just took it on full time. And now we have a few employees. And it was not until 2021 that I started doing this full time because I was trying to do everything. I mean, I don't know how the heck I did it because now doing this full time, I don't have enough time in the day to do it.
Yeah.
But I had a full time job and this full time after that, and I managed to get everything for the most part, done and grow a company and keep expanding because
That's
for
crazy.
us, it's always been trying to stay as lean as possible until, keep the overhead low, put all the money back in the company, buying new product, investing in new stuff. So that was the point of a full-time job is I'm not paying myself with this company at all. I can just keep everything there and keep growing. And it got to a point where it was a do or die moment. Like I either just go all in and deal with it, or I keep trying to kill myself. So,
So now you can kill yourself on just one job instead of two.
yeah, well,
Oh.
as a small business, one job is really nine jobs because
Yes.
we're doing the marketing and doing the shipping and this and that. So there's a lot involved. With the extra help we have now and a recent partnership that we've made, we're growing now at an exponential rate, which is cool. For us, it's always been kind of an exposure thing. I'm okay at social media, but I don't have the time or the know-how or dedication to really be on it all the time. So we're starting to make some traction on that side and being taken as a new, being recognized. Because every time we go to an expo, it's like, oh, I never heard of you guys before. That's stopping. That's not as often as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think largely because we've never really done anything Toyota, and so a lot of Toyota people are the ones who are going to these shows, and they're used to seeing the same brands. So we're kind of, we're still the new kids on the block as far as the grand scheme of things. I mean, these companies have been around for 30 plus years in a lot of cases. So we're just, plugging away and working on the growth and new products and trying to stay afloat in this weird economy.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, I think it was safe to say that you guys were like the Colorado shock people, right? Like
Oh yeah,
aftermarket.
yeah.
Like you guys
We
were
owned
the
the Colorado
go-to.
market
Yeah.
for a long time. Well, I mean, I would say we probably still do, but that was our bread and butter, is
Yeah.
our complete niche from the standard Colorado platform until the ZR2 came out, and then we built that truck behind me, and then that thing just took over everywhere. And
Yeah.
so the ZR2 market exploded, and it's not stopped. They just released the new 23 Colorado Canyons, and they just released the new Canyon, or the AT4X,
Yeah.
and the ZR2. And so we're working on R&D on that stuff to have new products come out for those platforms. So we're going to continue doing what we're doing on the new platform. We just picked up our AT4X today, so we can keep on plugging away.
What a great truck.
Oh, I just told the story last week. I was on a trip, family road trip, and I parked next to a GMC Canyon AT4X, and I fell in love. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I've never been like a Chevy guy. Like I've been totally indifferent to that platform. Like whatever, I even give one of my brother's friends. What do I say?
You're a pro trash talk.
Yeah.
Chevy guy,
I typically
it's not a viable.
No,
I think to quote you exactly,
the Silverado.
Silverado's not a viable.
The Silverado's not a viable off-road platform. I've told my brother's friend Chris, if you're listening, the Silverado is not a viable off-road platform. But there's no denying the Colorado and the Canyon, their capabilities in the midside market. And when I saw that Canyon AT4X, I was like, holy shit, that's a beautiful truck. That's an absolute gorgeous truck. Yeah.
People sleep on the ZR2s. I mean, even the previous one, like behind me, that without a doubt, and I'm sure I'll receive flack from Lakota guys, that without a doubt is the best mid-sized truck ever made. Hands down, most capable out of the box, and front rear lockers, power, torque. People would always say, well, there's no aftermarket. I mean, there's plenty of aftermarket. Like you can see that thing, supercharged V6, 35s, full suspension, everything you'd possibly do to it. And, even with 35s, a supercharger, I'm still getting 20 miles per gallon. Toyota would get like 9, maybe
10.
Yeah, my best case scenario in the current condition of my truck is 13.
My Land Cruiser 11, no matter what.
Yeah, with the rooftop tent and all the stuff I have in there, 13.
Yeah, well, and that's not to say that Toyotas make a great vehicle, because they do. I just feel like they fell asleep at the wheel for a really long time and let companies
100%.
like Ford and Chevy and even Nissan take over a lot of the new technology, the new stuff. I mean, to factory vehicle to come with front and rear lockers was pretty unheard of, aside from Jeep, especially on a pickup truck with IFS. And now we're starting to see that with the new Ranger Raptor, the Bronco, the new Colorado Canyon. So the cool thing is that, when I started this business, I'm like, well, maybe the Overland thing's a trend. Maybe off-road's going to go away again. When manufacturers are building vehicles like that at the dealership level or manufacturer level, is here to stay, because we're looking at 10 years in the future, and they're releasing these things now with plans to release things even better in the next 5 to 7 years. We're all good,
Yeah. And you're preaching to the choir. We've had this exact same conversation about how the ZR2 came out, pushed the envelope, and then the Ranger came out, pushed the envelope. The new Nissan Frontier pushed the envelope, and now the Toyota that has traditionally been the king is the old thing on the block. And
it's playing catch up.
It's definitely playing catch up. And in my personal opinion, they didn't do enough on the next version. I don't think the next version,
fancy seats, and they put rear disc brakes
on some of them. I just don't think they did enough to propel them back into the front, even though they're still going to outsell every other car brand combined.
That's what I was saying. Like, they don't even have to do. They can continue kicking out drum brakes in the rear.
They
if
are.
They want. Like,
they are.
Yeah, take it. Yeah. And they will. Like, here, eat this, and they'll love it. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody, oh, yes, sir.
Look at another
new paint
Toyota. Look at the new paint colors. Oh, I'm going to get you 2024. Yeah.
It's like a matted orange. I got to have it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a Nissan guy, Nick, so,
I'm an everything guy. Like, I don't have any particular brand bias or anything. I used to be a Ford guy for a really long time, and as I've gotten more into... As you've gotten more into vehicles, I just realized everything has their ups and downs. Yes. There's no perfect vehicle.
100%. Like growing up in high school, we were drag racing. Like we drag raced American Muscle. Like that was it. There was pre what's the Fast and Furious and all that stuff, and everybody hung on to, I'm a Ford guy and I'm Dodge and I'm whatever. And then at the end of the day, you get out of that circle, and you're like, I just want any one of those. Like, I'm just, they all have their positives and negatives, but especially nowadays, I think we're in a golden age of mid-sized trucks.
We are, and from a community standpoint, it's kind of old when you have this constant bickering of like, oh, this is better than that, and my truck's better than your truck. At the end of the day, we're all doing the same damn thing. We're all going to go stand in the parking lot and talk about it. We're all going to go off on the trails and do stuff. Like, oh, wait, anybody I see on the trail, but we always get flipped off, or like the Jeep guys will like try to shit on us. And it's like, dude, why? Like, I don't understand why there's the animosity over a vehicle you drive. Like, if that's how you do it by yourself, then you need some help.
So I'll go back to the muscle car thing. Like, well, I'll still give you some shit, if you're driving a Mustang or something, whatever the case may be. But I owned a Mustang. Like, it's just a good time to have that competition or whatever. But in reality, like, no, dude, I'll own a Tacoma. Like, if you said, hey, Matt, do you want a brand new Tacoma? Yes, thank you. Absolutely. If it's getting to the extent where there's flipping people off on the trail, that's a little too much.
Yeah, and we don't like our philosophy has always
a
been
lot too much. I mean, come on,
run
what you run.
Run what we we've been saying
banter, and there's actually like hating somebody.
Correct. Like we will banter, and we will. It doesn't matter. Look, if I
that's what
traded,
we're good at on this podcast.
If I traded in my right now, I will tell you the Ranger's the best mid-size pickup on the market.
Until you get the new Tacoma.
And then the minute I get something different, that's the best mid-size pickup on the market.
But also, no matter what you get, we're gonna talk shit on it.
Oh yeah, 100%. You could show up. You could show up with the Bronco Raptor, and we'd be like, As much as I want a Bronco Raptor, I would still give you shit for showing up in a Bronco Raptor. I mean, that's just the nature of it. But it's all in good fun, and we all take care of each other. We all get on the trail and have a good time. It doesn't matter, But I think to your point, Matt, if there's like actual animosity on the underlying that, I don't think that's cool.
It would be really hard for me to buy a Ranger, though. I'll just say that, just because, like,
but you've driven my
truck.
Whatever,
like, you would do, like, just thinking about how happy it would make you would not make me happy.
I would. Here's
he's so happy.
If you bought a Ranger, I wouldn't even bring it up. I wouldn't even talk about it because I would want it to sit in the back of your head the whole time, like just waiting for the shoe to drop, like the whole time. I wouldn't even.
Oh no! You know what?
I would be like
100%. That reminds me of that wedding at your cousin's place, and I was doing karaoke, and I remember seeing you with like a camcorder, not a fucking cell phone, an actual camcorder recording me. I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna hold this against me, and I'm still waiting for that to come. That's 15 years ago.
Yep. Nope.
So you know what? Yes, I would just
know that sit on
and
it.
now I know I won't buy it.
I would 100%. You drive up and I'd be like, "Hey, dude, nice truck. Yeah, let's go inside, do it." And that would be it.
You would wait for the perfect moment.
I would wait.
I'm still waiting.
Was it a silent film? Like, were you guys recording?
It was black and white. I think I don't know. It's like those like little metal things that
Howard
like
Hughes fucking.
It was black and white, and Matt weighed 130 pounds. That's how long it was.
That's how good I look in black and white.
So Nick, where is Peak Suspension located? Where's your guys' headquarters?
So we're in Riverside, California. We've been here since 2018. I mean, we started here, and we have a few warehouses currently because when we looked at getting a warehouse, it was a bigger warehouse. Space is sort of limited. This was during COVID, and everybody had extra money, and apparently they wanted a warehouse. Now it's been a few years, so we're looking at trying to consolidate our space into a larger facility and have everything under one roof. So probably by the end of the year we'll move in again, but we're probably going to stay in Riverside.
Okay, hold on. Can I stop the interview for just a second? I have to bring in something here.
Are you actually stopping it?
No.
Okay.
This is not. I have to because it's timely. I'm sorry. I just got a message from my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Hey, remember when we paid like $12,000 to widen our driveway so I didn't have to step out of the car into the planter? Those were good times." And I said, "What? I parked in the street because your mom's car was here when I got home." And she said, "I was just making a joke about Jose's car being in the driveway and how the other day I got in trouble for parking over the line. Like, how dare I actually want to not step into the planter? Did you park in the driveway?"
No.
Oh, it's just the Land Cruiser? Oh, okay, it's the Land Cruiser. I thought I was going to say Jose has his Land Cruiser and the Frontier in the driveway.
I wouldn't do that, dude. I wouldn't disrespect you like that.
Now we're going to take your Land Cruiser home tonight, and she's going to think it's because of that.
Yes.
Sorry, Nick. Jose's Land Cruiser's been Jose's Land Cruiser's been at my house for like 2 months.
Yeah.
It's been 1 month.
It's been like 3.5 years. So Riverside, California.
You'll get an invoice pretty soon. So don't worry about it.
You were saying you had multiple warehouses because when you were looking for space. Go back to that.
Yeah. So as we get something, we outgrow it immediately. So we've been picking up other warehouses in the business complex that we're at. Rather than keeping and doing that, we found a spot nearby that's about 3 times the size of what we have now. So we're looking to move into that, have everything under one roof, a more traditional install center, because right now it's, I wouldn't say a makeshift, but it's not the best. It works, it gets by, but we want to have a little bit more of a nicer facility and spend the time and resources and making it kind of our own. So hopefully the next 6 to 8 months we'll be doing that. But for the time being, we have what we have, and we're gonna get by with what we got.
The transition of the facilities. I mean, I got to imagine trying to get all that stock from various locations and relocated, and the building up the facility is how much of your time is that taking up right now?
It's going to be a lot. We'll have help, thankfully. The idea is to get the new place and have that going before we even get there. That way we can move things as we need to, like move all the install base stuff, get the lift set up, get all the tools in place, do that one day. So probably move admin last, so we don't, cease operations as much as we can. But I'm reminded of the time that a while ago, IBOC decided they were going to redo their warehouse. And this was over their Christmas break, which is like they're off from Christmas until the week after New Year's. And so as a dealer of theirs, they basically hold all the things on the warehouse. Well, when they installed all the racks, evidently they didn't torque everything down properly, and they didn't space everything enough for the robot forklifts. So they had to undo everything they did and redo it all. So it was down for like a month. So that's what I'm trying to avoid, because
it's those damn robot forklifts,
Yeah, well, their facility, if you've never been to IBOC in Corona before, it's incredible. Their warehousing, their operations, their machine shop, it's insane.
Everybody knows that robots are worthless over the holidays. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to work.
Too much eggnog.
They're always they party really hard. They go hard during the holidays.
They do go hard,
and they'll look for any excuse not to lift boxes once.
Lazy effing robots.
That's going to be a real discussion like 20 years from now.
20 years from now.
Yeah,
5.
You're going to be saying like lazy effing robots.
There's a lot of white collar jobs right now that are Chat GPT, baby.
Yep. You don't need podcast hosts anymore.
Yeah,
no.
Not us.
We should do that. We should do that one night.
Just phone it in and
plug Chat GPT in and let the guest ask talk, and then the Chat GPT would be asking questions.
It's like a Chat GPT for you and me and Jose. Our phones just talking shit about each other in a much better way, like probably more entertaining.
They're going to be people be like, "That's the best episode we've ever heard.
Episode they ever had. That wasn't them."
So as you're planning this warehouse move and all the pain in the ass that comes with, are you guys? I mean, I got to imagine that business doesn't stop and growth doesn't stop and opportunities don't stop. What kind of things is Peak doing right now to because you look at your website now and you talked about being originally the Colorado guys, like you've expanded quite a bit on that original platform. Tell me about that process of expanding products, and then like what your thoughts are going forward on how you're going to continue building the brand.
Well, for us as an organization, I wanted to expand in other platforms. I was always hesitant with Toyota because there's already so many options.
Yeah.
The aftermarket is so saturated by every brand and out there. We're looking at doing things a little bit different. We're coming out with a product that I feel is superior to some other brands that are out there at a better price point. So for us, we're trying to, I wouldn't say reinvent the wheel, because there's no reinventing anything when it comes to the aftermarket side for some of those things. But because we're small, we have more flexibility and controls over what we're making. We can, on a whim, decide we're going to make Frontier coilovers, which we did. Or we can decide we're going to do 4Runner, Toyota, we can do Bronco. So there are companies that have to do a huge pivot in order to make a certain product. For us, it's not a huge pivot. Mm-hmm. So that kind of led towards, okay, well, we're already doing this formula. How can we move this formula to other brands? And so it wasn't a hard transition, but a lot of our popular selling products we're now offering for the Tacoma. So we have control arms and tower sleeves and coilovers and Same with 4Runner and GX, and soon Bronco and ZR2. We're just trying to do what we do best and continue that onto other platforms. And, you know, there's a little bit of apprehension on my end that is this even going to work, or are people going to be interested? But the feedback we've gotten, we've been working closely with CBI since they have every toad under the sun. We've been using their platforms as R&D vehicles. And so we've got our new coilovers on their 4Runner, on their Tundra, on their Tacoma, and their Frontier. And they've been beating the heck out of them, giving us feedback. And so another thing that we're looking at doing too is on our new 2.5-inch coilovers, everything is vehicle-specific valving. And so when you have, random, I'm not going to name brands, but when you're buying a 2.5-inch coilover, a lot of cases, they do canned valving for certain groups of things. So like same valving for mid-size pickups, same valving for mid-size SUVs. Mm-hmm. Our valving is specific to every vehicle, engine type, and that way we are getting things dialed in the way it's supposed to. Rebound and compression control. So we're really trying to tackle that data-driven approach on, having a technical shock available for the end user. So we'll see. We're launching everything September. So if you need some shocks for your Frontier.
I was going to say, when does the Frontier stuff come out?
Hey, actually, I could use a transmission, but
yeah, that's for
any hookups for that?
Is that for both the former gen Frontier and the new Frontier, or
2 and 3?
We haven't physically tested the previous gen, but everyone we've talked to says it's exactly the same. So I'm going to say with confidence that it likely is a carryover product.
Yeah,
from our experience,
in a previous life, we put a Frontier suspension that was designed for the Gen 2 onto Jose's Gen 3, and the only difference was the rear sway. The rear sway bar with
the previous gen didn't have one.
Yes, so the rear sway bar
it needs to be spaced out.
Needs a spacer, right? Or just to be removed, which is what we did, and he hasn't had any issues. So going back from Gen 3 to Gen 2, I would expect there to be zero issues.
Well, it's funny because when we announced that we were doing the Frontier stuff, we had honestly, it was mostly Gen 2 guys asking about the shocks. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've all known they've been the underserved community for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And the good thing is you've got a 20-year run of the same platform.
Yeah, but the reality is that, anybody that's going to buy a Frontier, it's probably not someone you want as a customer anyways. I mean, they're poor, they're ugly, they're rude.
Those trucks...
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. But
these are the words of Cody's sister.
Hey, go search like picker part or whatever and look for Gen 2 Frontiers. They're not there. You can't. They're either
they're still on the road.
That's what I'm saying. They're still wheeling around. You still can't buy those parts. Like, I'll just go to the junkyard, get some, whatever. No, you can't. There's nothing. They're not. They're all still wheeling around.
Yes, 100%.
And the 4-liter is an amazing motor, and it was funny because they stuffed that thing into the smallest truck possible, and it had some pep.
Yeah. And we, obviously, I'm kidding. We have become more and more fans of the Frontier brand. But to your point, it's been an underserved portion of the community for a long time, and it continues to be. I thought for sure by this time, with the success of Gen 3, we'd see.
But there are
there's more now.
Peak and CBI, even CBI is making parts for them.
Yes, there's more now, but you
still don't see them built out Tacomas. You see built out Tacomas around here left and right.
No,
we don't see one.
The other day, I was driving down the street after picking up my daughter, and I was like, "Wow, that's a really nice." Oh, never mind, it's just Jose. That's. I was gonna say it was a super nice Frontier, and then I realized it was Jose, and I was like, "Nah, it's stupid."
You really don't see very many of them. When we did R&D, we had one local couple that we borrowed their truck for a while to test fit parts and measure and mock everything up. When we put an ad out for borrowing Frontier for R&D, they're the only response that we got.
I swear I did not see that, or else you could borrow.
Yes,
you could still borrow them. Weren't there yet.
I was going to say you should have just called us. We have 3. You could have taken it. Take it for a month.
If you still need to do further R&D, you can borrow my truck.
You could take the the product lines though, how are you choosing where you're focusing your energy for that next product?
For us, we're looking at growth as a company and growth as being taken seriously as a suspension company. So we started making components initially. So like we made the coilovers of the iBock, we made the coilover conversion kits, which are basically, that was our biggest seller for the ZR2, was we could take the Multimatic shocks, make it into a coilover, adjustable ride height, a selectable spring rate. It was and is a hugely popular item, but it still wasn't a shock. So as we continued making more and more products that were more suspension related, there wasn't anything that was directly suspension. So, if we're going to call ourselves Peak Suspension, we need to be doing more suspension things. And that was the push. And since I started this company, that's what I wanted to do, was build coilovers, like legit, like race style coilovers. So that was always my goal. We're just now into a position where we can focus more on it. And if we're going to do it, we may as well do it for as many of the brands as we can. So that's why our initial rollout is going to be Frontier, 4Runner, which also fits FJ and GX, Tacoma, and Tundra. The next rollout will be Bronco and ZR2. The next rollout is going to be Colorado Canyon and ZR2, the new ones. So we're phasing this stuff out over the next 6 to 8 months, but that's really where I want to make my focus, is to build legit coilovers that people can afford to buy and be thrilled to use.
I didn't hear Ranger in any of that shit. So as far as I'm concerned,
yeah, we are looking at probably doing the 20. I forgot to mention that one because it's so no one cares.
Irrelevant.
Oh shit! Another week where we lost connection with the guest. Can't hear him.
Nick, what are you doing next week?
Hey, did you get a lot of pushback when you started making the coilovers for the ZR2? Because they're like, well, what makes the ZR2 special are those Multimatic shocks. But I mean, were you getting any feedback on that when you started making those?
Zero. So funny enough, as great of a shock as it is, and this is the biggest misnomer with these shocks, they will leak at some point. They will fail.
Yeah.
But the caveat is, we always see people posting, oh man, my DSSVs suck, they're leaking again. I'm like, okay, let's dive into this. How many miles do you have? What year's your truck, et cetera, et cetera? Oh, I have 65,000 miles and they're leaking. I'm like, okay, in what world is that a bad shock? 65,000 miles on an off-road performance shock, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. And the downside is there's no rebuilding these things. We tried to make a program where we can rebuild the DSSVs into more. Wow. And so because they're not rebuildable, either you replace them with more DSSVs, which are $595 each, or buy coilovers to replace them, and now you have a shock that you can rebuild. Yeah, you have more oil capacity and adjustable reservoir, different spring rates, different travel figures. So in a lot of ways, what we're making for the ZR2, we can modify your DSSV shocks first. When you blow those things up, now you can upgrade to our coilovers, and now you get the next level where you're at a point where you can keep rebuilding them, and it's going to be as good for the life of the truck. Yeah. So pushback wise, no. And in fact, we make a lot of stuff for the Silverado ZR2 now, which is becoming our bestseller, and we're getting a ton of inquiries about doing coilovers for those. Which again, you're buying the truck, what you would assume is for the shocks, but most people are buying them for the motor, the lockers, the interior. The shocks are great and they will last you a while. However, there's just guys who don't want those. They just want to move right on to the next level, or in some cases, people just want to modify stuff. But it's just something to do. Like when we bought the Bronco, admittedly, that is probably one of the one vehicles I've ever owned that I could be comfortable leaving bone stock. Mm-hmm. But I'm not in the business of keeping anything bone stock.
Yes. Hey, everybody! Don't do anything.
Don't buy anything.
It's perfect.
Here's our new business model. We're not going to sell you anything.
Yeah. So that was always our mainstay, was just where we can navigate through these product lines. And for the ZR2s, that's a natural progression. It's like the stage 1 essentially, and then stage 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The how many vehicles are in your stable now? Like how many vehicles as an organization? Because I can't keep up with what you guys have as your vehicles.
Well, because we're a newer business, it was very difficult to buy things through the company because your company credit was minimal. No one wants we're a high risk, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So the company only owns 2, and I own the rest. So in total, we have 5 vehicles. But we're looking at offloading too. So I'm probably going to sell, or Kim, my girlfriend, and she also works admin here in the office. She has a fully built long travel pre-runner, actually the black truck right here.
Okay.
So when I met her, and she'll get pissed at me for saying this because I always make fun of her, it had the ugliest bumper and wheels on earth. And it was my goal, like, if we continue down this path, there's no way I'm going to allow you to leave your truck the way that it is.
How fucking baller is Nick right now? He's like, look, honey, if you want some discs, we have to do something with
It
that.
wasn't a trade. It was just a lot of subtle hints. Like, hey, we should do this. Oh, hey, what do you think about this?
Our dating is contingent on your shitty vehicle.
I can't have you wheeling around with me.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm not saying your truck's a moped.
Well, we can't be in the same photos. Like, you don't have to be
I
back.
would love to hear Kim's input on this. I would
At least
love to.
We'll have to
five
comment at the
vehicles
same
back.
Oh shit!
Is this the 2015 Colorado?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So once she gave me full reign on that truck, I went nuts, and that's the way it is now. And the funny thing is, and I'll continue to give her crap for it, is when we bought the Bronco, that would sit in the garage. Her truck would sit in the driveway, and she'll, we're gonna go to work. She'll walk outside and walk right past that fully built truck that I spent all that time and money on, and drive the Bronco instead.
Yeah.
Every day.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
it's time.
it's a superior vehicle. Clearly.
And I think a lot of it too is the interior and the technology. The Bronco is light years ahead technology-wise, because Chevy, it's kind of funny. They released the second gen Colorado in 2015. In 2016, they released it kind of again, but they revamped everything. So exterior-wise was the same, but they have a newer interior, newer technology. She literally missed the boat by like 1 year, but she's like, "Oh, I had the first of the second gens." I'm like, "Yeah, but it also sucks because the interior's terrible. There's no like DIC, there's no CarPlay, the screen's terrible. It's just
That's always been my experience. In a previous life, I had a family that were Raiders fans and Chevy drivers. They were genetically they were predisposed to being Raiders fans and Chevy drivers.
I can't believe I knew you back then.
I know.
Like,
And that was the one thing about every single Chevy vehicle was like
Raiders.
You get in the vehicle and you're like, meh.
Yeah.
like just
especially like the early 2000s ones.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
You're like,
Oh yeah.
whatever. Oh, okay. But the new Bronco, to your point, is gorgeous. It's an experience when you get in the vehicle. It is. Don't fucking make that
Easy,
face,
all right, easy.
Matt. It is a phenomenal.
It is a
vehicle.
phenomenal.
You're right.
Fantastic vehicle.
I agree with you. It is very
It's
phenomenal.
phenomenal and fantastical. It's definitely a different aesthetic inside compared to the previous gen Chevys.
Well, even the way it drives too. Like, I was saying earlier that I think the ZR2 is the best midsize truck at the time. I also had the 2019 Ranger, that we had built up. I loved driving that truck. In fact, I probably drove that more than the ZR2 because the powertrain on the Ranger was way better. The 10-speed and the 2.3 were a fantastic combination. The seating position was really good, although the interior was very lackluster and, reminiscent of like a 2013 or 14 because it was. It still had some technology. It was comfortable and easy to drive. It almost drove like a car, which is kind of odd, being that it was a truck.
Yeah, I still have my 2019 Ranger, and I absolutely love it. I don't think I've had a vehicle this long ever.
This is the longest.
The
you've
longest
had,
I've ever had a vehicle,
truck.
and I haven't like once thought about trading it in or getting rid of it. And it's because of the things that you said, the drivetrain, the way we just did another like 1,500 mile road trip, maybe 1,000 mile road trip, whatever. Still love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's comfy. It's good. I really enjoyed it. But when we were looking at warehouse space, we were running out of room before we had the warehouse. So I had all this stuff at my house, and we were basically running the business out of my garage and 2 storage units in the beginning. And so when it came down to it, when the ZR2 was coming, I was like, I don't need 2 of the same thing. I don't need 2 fully built Overland vehicles. And if I'm going to choose one, it's going to be the ZR2. It makes more sense for the business. It makes more sense for our as our growth. And personally, I just enjoyed it as a more capable off-road vehicle. So we sold the Ranger, and I do miss it sometimes, like once a month.
you don't have to go here. The direction you're going right now,
You're in a
could
safe
just,
spot.
No, you don't have to go down this road.
But he's
You could
he's
say,
letting his true
you-
emotions.
No, it was
Look,
fine. It was
it's a
the
safe
decision.
space.
It was
I
the
was
same.
talking about a
No,
feeling.
it was a logical choice.
We are 100% a safe space, Nick. You can tell us about how much you miss your Ranger. We're here for you, buddy.
A little bit.
And so you've got the Bronco, you've got the ZR2. What else do you guys have?
That Colorado, the black one. I have a 21 Ram Prospector XL. That's my favorite truck. I'll probably never get rid of. And then today we just picked up the 23 Canon AT4X. So that's our next company project vehicle.
The Ram Prospector. How fucking awesome is that?
It's honestly, so I recently sent it to my friend Mike, runs a Jeep Ram dealer, and I sent it over for service and some of the recalls that had come through and warranty stuff, things I've been ignoring for 4 years or 3 years, however old. I actually missed it for 2 weeks, and I have these vehicles and I'll drive the Ram every day. It's just more comfortable. It's big. No one messes with you. I can fit anything I want. The back seats are massive. It's the best truck ever, and it's funny because we have a really close relationship with the EV. So when we actually ended up building the truck versus buying one already done. So I sacrificed I don't have the gauge cluster, headrest stitching, or a badge, which I'm fine with. But when I originally saw this truck, I was bringing my ZR2 for service at the same dealership, and I walked by. I'm like, what the heck is that? And it was this massive PXL with the big, huge bumper, and just the coolest thing I've ever seen. The 40-inch tires. I was like, I have to have this truck. Like, I don't care what this is. I have to have this. And so I spent the next year obsessing about it. And then, running all the numbers, and as close as we are with AEV, it made a lot more sense to build it ourselves. So I just bought a Bighorn, and we built, the whole thing into a PXL, and it's a pretty decent clone. And then because I couldn't get badges, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm missing out because it doesn't say Prospector anywhere. No one really knows what it is. It's white, so it's like a contractor vehicle. So I found in 1985, and don't quote me on this, but 1985 and 6, maybe it was 86 and 7, Dodge Ram made a Prospector. Yeah. And they forgot to renew the rights to the name, which is when AEV bought it. And so they flipped the logo around, bought the name Prospector, and they've owned it ever since. And so I found original 1986 Dodge Ram Prospector badges and then repainted them and mashed them on the truck. So I have the OG Prospector badges on the trucks. It's kind of like a throwback to its roots and to make it a little more unique. Yeah. And so it's kind of cool, but I don't have the original AEV ones. So
that whole story about seeing the truck and the dealership, I got to have this, and you were obsessed about it, for a year. That's pretty much the same thing, but me and my Frontier.
Your Tesla? Was that you and your Tesla?
No, that was a 2-week scatter thing. But getting my Frontier, my Pro 4X, 2018. That's how I feel. I feel the same.
Yeah. What's that Frontier doing for you now, Matt?
It's increasing the property value in front of my house. There's some weeds starting to grow up through the wheels, but I intend on maintaining the weed growth around it. So that's this weekend. I'll have the boys out there with some snips or something.
Yeah,
it's nice as a lawn decoration.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Well, I mean, it's still in the street and it's pissing off my neighbors because it's taking
it was a code violation. Then
nobody's flagged it, but it is taking up a valuable parking spot that people used to use. But you know what?
Yeah, you had that effing Civic that kept parking in front of your house.
There was a Civic. There was a look for I don't know how many 6-7 years. I had a dent riddled Geo Tracker or whatever, and I thought it was oh man, this guy fucking really pissed off his girlfriend or something, and she just took a pickaxe to it. And I asked him one day so what happened? Did you piss off your girlfriend or your wife or something? He's like, no, I bought it. It was he bought it from Georgia in a hailstorm.
Yep.
It was a total, and he bought it, and he still drives around like that. But whatever. F that guy. He could park that thing in his driveway in front of my house. That's where my truck sits.
Currently,
okay.
So we've got the ZR2, the Bronco, the Prospector. What else?
The black Colorado.
Oh, the Colorado. That's right.
The New Canyon.
And
so
the New Canyon.
What's the other vehicle you're gonna offload?
Probably the black Colorado, since she doesn't drive it, and I'll probably sell the ZR2 because we're gonna go nuts on the new Canyon. So it's gonna come down to the same thing as the Ranger and ZR2 dilemma.
Yeah.
I have two of the same vehicle builds that do the same thing. Do I need both, or do I offload one and make room for whatever else comes in the future, like potentially a new Ford Ranger or whatever? Or I don't know. I'll probably end up just keeping it because I used to have a really bad habit of keeping cars forever. Like Matt, they would decorate my lawn or my backyard. And at one point, I had 11 vehicles, and I think 4 of them worked. So,
So I mean, I could drive it, but
But you don't
why?
want to. You've got a Tesla now. You're a Tesla chaser.
I'm a full-on douchebag project manager. That's the day I pulled up in the Tesla. Like it was like everybody on the project, all the foremen came out. And they're like, "You truly are a douchebag now.
Yeah.
Like you've made it.
See, I'm not
You've
the only
made
one that
man."
says it.
And I was like,
Thank you.
"Thank you. I'll take it.
I worked really hard for this moment.
I made it."
really rebel in this.
The Canyon. I mean, what's the plans for the Canyon? I mean, that thing's pretty damn out of the box badass. Like, I can only imagine what you're going to do to make it even more badass.
What did we say at Adventure Expo? We're going to do bumpers, we're going to do lights everywhere, and 37-inch tires. So
There you go.
All of it. All of it.
we're going to do all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be a flagship vehicle for sure. I want to do something different. So we're doing some stuff I've never done before, taking some risks I haven't done before. So I think it'll pay off, and it's going to be extraordinarily unique. But yeah, I mean, first things first, when we get back from Expo next week, tear it apart, R&D continues. We borrowed an AT4 standard one for about 3 weeks or so earlier in the year and developed a lot of stuff off of that. So there are some carryover products that can work on both platforms, but the ZR2 and AT4X will have a lot of specific items that we'll design for that one. And I wanted to wait till we had our own so I can really just go to town on it versus borrowing somebody else's. And I don't want to have the risk of if something breaks. It's a new vehicle. There's sensors everywhere and clips everywhere. And so for us, if I break something, it's easy to replace it on my own vehicle because it'll just sit there broken for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the plan at least. And then now that all the expos are over, I
was flipping off Jose right there because I
it's going to be 2 years.
But
It's gonna
I
be
saw
2
the
years.
his face turn towards me like, "Yeah, motherfucker, 2 years." And I just went, "You son
We
of a
called
bitch."
it.
I said
We-
Labor Day. I had to push out the day.
I still say King of the Hammers.
Sorry,
next year.
Nick. I'm sorry. This interview of you is being commandeered by.
Yeah, I said
it's a
Hammers
conversation. We're all
Yeah.
learning by each other.
Yeah.
2025.
But you know how we all are. I mean, when it's your own vehicle, you care a lot less to fix stuff than you do on like a customer vehicle.
Yeah.
And now it's a priority on my stuff. It's like, oh, we'll get to it when I get
Yeah,
to it.
exactly.
Thank you. Like these guys are like, "Oh my God, you're killing the podcast. Your truck's not running." Like, Jesus Christ. It's,
Well,
what have you done since?
No,
nothing.
you're giving the podcast content by being a douchebag.
Oh, okay. Well, then
so-
I guess I'm still providing
so
some
let's-
value to the podcast.
Any different than before.
So,
What did I? Yeah, exactly. What did I do before?
Overland
Not
Expo Mountain West. You guys we talked earlier, you said you're heading out there tomorrow to head out to the event.
Yep. And then we'll be out there until Sunday. So anyone listening, if there's like 5 people or so, come by and see us. We'll be out there.
We have
Sounds
5.
about
There's
right.
only 5 people that listen. None of those. My mom is not going up.
Yeah,
to
she can't
Expo.
make it. My
Like,
mom
just-
can't make it.
Yeah,
Maybe you can convince my wife to go up there.
We don't
No,
really
he
pass-
can't.
Oh well,
No,
no,
he-
she doesn't listen. I'm
She does,
sorry.
yeah.
It
We
was
don't
just-
really pass Vegas, so
Yeah. There's nobody from this show going to show
Well,
up.
if you gave me enough incentive to get past Vegas, maybe I'd get there. But for the most part,
You had mentioned the last time you guys made this trip, it was kind of a shit show. Tell me that story.
So, fun fact: Colorado their infrastructure was not designed for the amount of people that they have living there currently. So all of their freeways are like 2-lane highways. There's not bypasses. There's not any other ways around things. So not this last year, the year before, we were towing the ZR2 with the Ram, and on the way up, we left from Richfield, Utah. This was Thursday, so you have to be there by 5 o'clock on the day before. So that's a Thursday. Now, Richfield, Utah to Loveland, Colorado is about a 5 or 6 hour drive. As we're going up I think it was the 70, the main highway that goes up into Colorado, shut down completely because there was a big rig that pulled over, broken down, and another big rig crashed into him and flipped over and died. So they blocked the entire freeway right before we needed to make our change to the next freeway. And so rather than move stuff out of the way, Colorado's like, you guys can go around. We'll get to this later. And so we were diverted and had to backtrack 2.5 hours to the nearest like byway, which then takes you through the mountains. And I'm pulling a 26-foot trailer with a truck on it and a single one track going through the mountains. So it took us in total about 14 hours to do a 7-hour drive to get to Colorado. We didn't get to Loveland till like 10 o'clock at night. And so like everyone had to have this happen. So like people were calling and saying, hey, we're not gonna make it to 5 o'clock. So they extended the deadline, obviously, because everyone was in this.
Yeah.
So after we made it through this mountain road, which is, treacherous enough as it is, we reached this like podunk little town. I don't even know what the hell it was called. And if you've ever been in that area, the big rigs and gravel trucks and stuff, they don't have a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, and they drive like they're on the Autobahn.
They got places to be.
It's just freaking nuts. So like there's this one dude, we were going through like Grand Junction, and he passes probably like 6 or 7 times, and I'm doing like 65 and he's doing like 90 in this gravel truck. And so we get to the point after we've all reached this destination now, and it's the same dude again, and we come down to like a merge point. So he's in the left-hand lane, I'm in the right-hand lane. So he wasn't paying attention, and so it ends up merging, past the light, and the right-hand lane goes into the left lane. He decided after he realized that I was passing him on the right, he's like, nuh-uh, not today. And so he decides to floor it. And then he rams my trailer and breaks the fender off, pops 2 tires. And we ended up like having to pull off the road a little bit. There's no shoulder where we were. And so he makes a left into a gas station, and I continue for maybe a quarter of a mile until there's a pullout and I can pull over. We had 2 flats. The fender was gone with the license plate on it. I had to pull the ZR2 off the trailer just so we can move it because it was just destroyed. It shifted the entire axle over. And so as we're doing that, it took us probably 20 minutes to, assess the damage, unload, take the straps off and pull the ramps out, or pulling the truck out. And Barney Fife comes over, the local sheriff, and starts screaming at us, saying that we're running from the scene. And I'm like, dude, we're right here. Like there was literally nowhere to go. He made a left because he could. I couldn't go anywhere unless he turned into the bushes. And so I was like, we're going to unload the trailer so I can drive it back over there and, go over whatever we need to go over. And so he starts just wailing on us and accusing us of all the stuff and saying that, we just come from California and cause all these problems. Look,
no.
I'm not one of those Californians, first of all. And second of all, like, we're just trying to get where we're trying to go. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm sure we have, proof between her or the driver or whatever. Well, he said it was your fault. I'm like, of course he would.
Yeah.
He's like, he says he's got dash cam footage to prove it. I'm like, all right, let's see it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd love to see his dash cam footage because I'm sure it's going to be hilarious to explain how this happened. So then, actually, that was the local police. That was him. Then the county sheriff shows up. He was super cool. And so we chatted for, 20, 30 minutes, told him what happened. So then he goes over and he's like, yeah, the guy won't show us his footage. He says he's going to sue you and you can see it in court. I'm like, fine, dude, whatever. Like, here's my information. We can make a police report, have whatever you need. And so, long story short, fast forward 3 or 4 months, I have to appear in court virtually by phone. So, I call in and this guy's saying that it was all my fault, this and that. I'm like, well, I mean, did anybody review the dash cam footage? He's like, oh, well, he's saying that it was corrupted. I'm like, of course he is.
Yeah.
Because why would he turn in evidence that's going to make him look bad? I'm like, you guys have wasted so much of my time and effort on this and making me have to be some kind of criminal just because I'm from California and don't want to deal with this nonsense. They ended up just dropping the whole thing. But I had to drive another 6.5 hours with a busted trailer because this is like 8 o'clock at night. Everything's closed. There's nothing open to fix this. And I had one spare that was the wrong size wheel. And of course, it's a borrowed trailer. It never ends up being an easy thing.
Geez.
And so I had to drive the trailer with the truck unloaded so I can at least drive on, 2 tires and get it where we needed to go. Because oddly enough, it popped the wheels on opposite sides. So one side had one flat and the other side another flat. I think it would push the axle. And so it was enough to just drive where I had to go, and it wasn't really a compromising situation. And then Kim drove the ZR2 the rest of the way. So, then the next morning I took it over to, there's like a big old tire or whatever nearby, and had them fix everything while we were there. But like, yeah, it was an absolute shit show. And so it was so bad we didn't want to go last year because like I don't want to deal with it again. But they reached out and they said they had some space still and that they wanted to fill that. So we're like, well, let's just see how it goes this year. And if we decide this is going to be a continuation, because the first time we went was the very first they did it. So this is year 3 now in that location. And it's a really cool location, but in a really weird place. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Loveland before, but it's like an hour north of Denver. So you're past all the cool stuff and there's like nothing over there. So we'll see how it goes this week.
Sounds exactly why I would go there. Like, it's an hour past all the cool shit.
Let's go. That sounds great.
An excuse to use all the shit you bought for your Overland.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a really cool venue, and the crowd was good the first time we went there. A lot of engagement, and it was cool seeing what our customers have had in other states. So like, we had a lot of Colorado and Wyoming or Kansas folks show up. So when you have these regional shows, you get a different mix of people, because previously it was just East and West, and you'd see everyone from one half of the country at both of those shows.
Yeah. Now
they have West, they have Pacific Northwest, they have Mountain West, they got East. With all these new shows, not everybody goes to every one of them. So as a vendor, it sucks. Now we have to go to all of them, and we only we get a fourth of the engagement we used to get, because people will just say, well, why want to go to West? I can just go to Mountain West. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely changed our outlook on these shows as a vendor, because it's like, are we getting the best value for these things? And I think everyone kind of feels the same thing. And I don't want to talk bad about Overland Expo, because they put on a very well put on show. It's organized. It's I mean, they do their work to make it a good show. But when you continue to make too many shows, it kind of saturates or waters down the rest of them.
Yeah, I think they just become a victim of their own success. Like, like it was very like, man, we need more of these. Like, it was just Overland West, right?
Yeah.
There was the rest of the country wanted their show in their area, so they did. But now it's like he said, just oversaturating.
Well, I don't know that it maybe, but it's shifting the burden of travel from the consumer to the vendor. Whereas if I lived in Tacoma, Washington, and I wanted to go to this event, I had to get down to Flagstaff.
Now, and they would.
And you would. Now, to Nick's point, they're going, no. I'm not going to go to Flagstaff because I'm going to wait 2 months, and all of those people are going to be up here. And
but as a vendor now, you're just like,
as a vendor now, you have the cost of 4 shows.
Yep.
Instead of
travel
and lodging and food and fuel.
So,
and Overland Expo knows that if you want to connect with the people in that region, you're going to have to be there.
And then if you're not there, people wonder, like, well, how come Peak's not? Well, they don't really care because we're still newer. But like, if we were a bigger name, how come so-and-so's not here? Something wrong with the company? Are they not doing shows? Are they still in business? Because, COVID brought a lot of uncertainty to a lot of the consumer market. Like, they didn't know who's still in business. They didn't know where they can buy from because, we had like what was that? Pelfrey built. Once all that whole thing happened, it really caused a rift in the aftermarket industry and buyers' confidence, because at any moment, I'm investing this money into a company that I'm maybe not getting a product right away from. Are they going to be in business by the time my product's ready to get? And so it's caused a bit of cluster when it comes to the way consumers are buying now. And COVID also brought a lot of people's impatience to a whole new level where they expect everything like now. They want it immediately. I'm home. I don't know how long I'm going to be home for, but I want this stuff now because I have the time to do it. So it definitely made a challenge, and it also created a lot of capitalistic mentalities where, like, if you have it in stock, it's going to be gone. And a lot of companies are like, well, I got it in stock, so I'm going to charge more for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were paying for availability.
Right.
And the some of the, going back to like whether or not you're going to be at these shows, some of these shows, like SEMA as an example, for years it was more of an issue if you weren't there. If you
lose your spot,
you lose your spot, but it told a story. Whether or not the story was true, it told a story. I feel like SEMA, that's changing to some extent.
Well, COVID gave everybody a way out. So when COVID hit and they had a year off, a lot of people didn't come back.
Well, because a lot of people went, hey, wait a minute. We didn't spend $100,000 on that event.
More than that.
We didn't lose anything.
And our volume was the same.
If not more.
Yeah. So I do think that shifted shifted the mindset in some of the shows and the response. I mean the requirement for people to be there, if that makes
100%.
sense. But there's a lot of industry events like that are like, oh, how come so and so's not here this year?
Well, at this point, it's probably like a flex to be there. You know, like
Yeah.
look at us, we're at SEMA. You know,
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, but
Thank you, Matt.
yeah, but the
That's my 2 cents.
but there's very 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 large
Did you hear the
organizations.
change clank around? Like, there it is.
There's very very large organizations that aren't there, maybe because they don't need to flex.
Well, look at Ford. Ford
Yeah, they're
owns
flexing,
most of SEMA, and they pulled out. And I'm sure they're not reeling from it at all. In fact, they're becoming more involved in like local grassroots stuff and more on the community level, which is what our tagline or slogan, we're going to call it, is for enthusiasts by enthusiasts. We're all off-road enthusiasts. We're all in this as well. We all enjoy what we make and do, and we're just like our customers. We're just regular people that like to do the things that we all like to do. So for us, it community means a lot. So we host cars and coffees. We host a lot of trail runs. We try to intermingle and do things with our customers and friends and be out in the world. And honestly, as a business, it creates more customers when you create those relationships, because everything we do is based on relationships. Companies we work with, brands we carry, I either personally know them on a friendship level or some capacity of running their product. We don't just carry things just to carry stuff. I don't want to be one of those catalog companies that has a million items and I can't vouch for any of them.
Yeah.
So we're choosy on who we want to work with, and we're choosy on what we want to do. And so when we get to host these fun things, and we're looking at creating like a camping event coming up soon, and those are things that we love because we get to meet the people that are supporting us. And conversely, when we're hosting trail runs, people are seeing our stuff in action, because if I'm out there abusing it and showing people what it's capable of, who better than us, people can see it firsthand. They can touch it. They can, drive in it or take rides, whatever the case may be. We want to be seen as a partner. And, that's always been my thing, is we're just regular dudes. And I never want that to change.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to how we opened this show. Like, you have been, we've seen you at every one of these events, and you've been part of the community, and you've been standing there under the 10x10 cracking jokes with us, and, all of those things. As you're growing this business, it doesn't appear that you have not gone away from that grassroots, approach to being involved in the community, if that makes sense.
I think if we were a big corporation, or if we had if we got bought out by like some shareholder or like a VC, then I'm sure it would change, because now our philosophy is about pleasing the shareholders versus pleasing the customer. I never want our attitude to change and people to see us as like just big corporate. I want people to like be able to come up to us and say hi. Like, I remember people I meet from previous shows and conversations we have, and as I'm getting older, I forget names instantly. So I'm trying to get a lot better at that. Yeah. But it's also fun to be able to be at these events and meet people and hear their stories and learn about the things that they've done with their trucks and see the progress that we've had an impact. And I love seeing stuff like that. I love seeing our stuff in magazines and customers thrilled about it. And like, just, it makes me proud to know that there's people out there who really appreciate what we do, and they really want to support our brand and our products. And that's why we do it. Honestly, it's cool.
Well, I will say, if there are any private equity firms or VCs out there, I will 100% sell out and change my attitude. Just like don't
the VC, like the Vietcom?
Venture.
Brought to you by
venture
venture
capital. Look,
CCP.
Yeah. Look,
whatever.
I'm just saying.
They're gonna buy us out.
If there's any private equity, my soul is for sale, is what I'm saying. Like, I will push whatever
that's worth.
Vegemite. Brought to you by Vegemite. Like, that's where we're at. If anybody wants to put the Ricky Bobby on my sleeve or in the back of the bedroom, that's fine.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Oh shit, that's awesome. Well, look, man, we've taken up a good hour of your night, and as you said when we got started, you were last minute scrambling, getting everything loaded and ready to go because you're taking off tomorrow. Don't try to back up now. Trying to get everything ready to go for tomorrow for your trip. So hopefully you guys make it up there with no Jeepers Creepers experiences with truckers, and you can get up there safely and quickly, and don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
90-mile-an-hour gravel trucks. And you know what's crazy is you just kept up with him. Like, you didn't see that as like, I should probably just let this guy go, and I'll do 85.
Yeah.
I don't even like going that fast. Like we'll go to Arizona and the speed limit is like 80. I'm like, I'm good. I'm just going to do 70 and I'm cool. You guys can pass me. I got no reason to do 80 because my truck just start shitting gas mileage. So.
He still rear-ended you though, right? Like,
Well, actually, it reminds me of one funny story. So when I had the Ranger, I used to work closely with Brago Fabrication, and so I had driven the Colorado at first to drop that truck off and flew back, and then I drove the Ranger over again to have that worked on and drove the Colorado back. Then I flew out, drove the Ranger back. So on the way back with the Ranger, I don't know if you've driven to Texas or not before, but that span between El Paso
absolutely
and
no
Proville is like,
reason to go to Texas for anything.
it's the worst thing ever. But they also have very spread out gas stations, and I learned that day that the Ranger can go 65 miles on E on zero, and so I'm panicking. It's summertime. It's 80, 90 degrees out, like probably 90 something outside. I have the AC off, the radio off, the windows, like everything.
The radio
was
off
shut off
because that electrical
Power.
is really going to mess with your gas
No, no, no.
mileage.
The 3
I wanted
ohms that it's gonna take to power your radio.
I don't want the vibration of the speakers to impact my ability to flow through to coast as far as possible.
Yeah, I drove 50 miles an hour in an 85, and I'm just big rigs are flying.
Oh, man.
you're
Made it.
drafting them.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
help.
Tried, but they're going 85 miles an hour. I can't do that. I'm going to run out of gas in the middle of freaking nowhere. So yeah, that day I learned.
The Ranger only has an 18-gallon tank, and
Yes, it does.
I gauge it can probably do, at least right now, 220, 230 miles on a full tank when it hits E. And like anytime we do our trips, I just plan 200 miles. Like we're going to stop at 200 miles. And I tell these guys it's because I want to get a snack at Extra Mile, but it's because I'm scared to death of running out of gas like you did.
Yeah, but
Now
California
you
gas
know
sucks.
I didn't run out of gas. You got 65 miles of range on
Well,
each.
I will trust you on that and hope I never have to test it.
When I went to Utah, like as soon as I got like Nevada gas or Utah gas, dude, my mileage went way up.
Really?
Yeah, I got like almost 400 miles to the tank.
It's in the Nevada gas. it's like the difference between California beer and Utah
So,
beer.
yeah, what are you saying, Jose?
He's saying
I
it's
said
better gas.
Yeah, it's better gas.
That Nevada has better gas.
Nevada and Utah have no ethanol gas, so it's like real good stuff. You know?
I got some, on that family road trip we just did. I got some gas at a gas station, and it was a Chevron.
Yes,
but
that's where you normally buy gas.
There was something wrong with it. Like, honestly, I was like, "How am I out of gas already?" Like, I think that was shit gas. I think it was watered down gas.
Super watered down.
But
I just stopped for snacks now, so
Yeah.
just whatever, guys.
yeah, you just plug it into the weed whacker, whatever. Well, dude,
The weed whacker.
that's
it.
yeah, I was trying to go someplace with a gardening tool, but it didn't work. Which is like most of my jokes. Well, so people can find you at Overland Expo West. Do you know what booth you're at?
I should have been more prepared, but we're right by the entrance.
Okay, so by the entrance,
The one and only entrance.
go to that one entrance on that one side of the
We're right there.
facility, and you'll
Yeah,
see
you'll see
the
'em right
Peak
there.
Suspension people right there. Go check them
On
out.
this side.
And you can find all of their products at peaksuspension.com, and they are at Peak Suspension on Instagram. And if you scroll down on the Instagram,
And when does that Frontier suspension come out again?
Next month.
nobody
Next
cares.
month.
Oh, wow.
Nobody cares. When you scroll
Is that
down,
a Titan swap Frontier suspension?
No.
Yeah,
No,
you're not
sir.
gonna- No, you're not gonna do
Okay.
that.
Dude,
Sorry, I had to ask.
Yeah. So if you guys are in the market for some suspension, go check out peaksuspension.com. Check them out on Instagram and go see them at the Overland Expo Mountain West this weekend. Nick, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show and for telling your story and talking to us. We've been kind of, like I said, we've been running in the same circles for a long time. This has been a great conversation. I'm super excited about the success that you guys are having and hope it continues.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. You have a great night.
You guys too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.
All right. So we'll end it there. Awesome. That is a great Jeepers. I kept picturing Jeepers Creepers, that movie with the with
That
like
moth guy.
Yeah.
It's like a moth guy.
yeah, but it's
like
but the beginning
cornfields.
is they're messing around with the trucker on the radio, and that's how the whole thing starts. The old truck keeps chasing him down. That's what I was picturing when he was telling the story. Steve Zahn was in that movie.
Who?
Steve Zahn, dude, he was Saving Silverman. Anyways,
Billy Zane?
no. F you.
What
dude.
happened
Wow,
to that
that
guy?
name in a long time.
Yeah.
What, Steve Zahn?
Fuck that
What?
guy. 'cause
Steve
you know
Zahn's
why?
way better than Billy Zane. Billy Zane
He
took
got on the
that
fucking
kid and got on the boat.
Yeah, he got on the boat, dude. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, no, I'm
why-
not saying that guy's cool. I'm just saying I never heard of it.
that's why his career tanked
Dude,
after that
100%.
because everybody looked at him and went, "He's the fucking guy from the Titanic."
Just like
That
that
guy.
Upham guy from Saving Private Ryan, we just like
Yeah.
cowered in the stairs where his
Yep.
buddy was getting stabbed.
Yep,
that
you're like
guy.
that guy
Fuck that guy
never.
too.
That guy. You're right.
We will.
Nick, you can hang up whenever
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want. I'm sorry.
We will. I'll edit this tomorrow night after work and get it put together. I will upload it to the media host. I'll create some social media posts and I'll send those to you via email tomorrow. And then we'll start promoting it on Friday or Saturday. It'll be released Thursday, and we usually start the promotions on Friday or Saturday. So,
Cool.
good luck at the show. I hope it goes really, really, really well. If there's anything you need, if there's anything we can help with, if you've got future promotions you want to talk about or things to collaborate on, please do not hesitate to reach out. You're a local guy. Like I said, we've been hanging around in circles and would love to do some work with you guys if you've got something coming up.
Yeah, for sure, dude. That'll be awesome.
All right, man. Well, we're going to make fun of each other for another half hour or so, and you're welcome to drop off at this point.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.
There.
Thanks, man.
All right. You guys ready? Need a party break or anything?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go potty.
Yes, I do. Hey, what was the? I was
Is
going
that
to
from you
type for
turning
the.
50?
Huh?
Is that from you turning 50? You need a
Fucking. I don't need to be here, Jose.
I know you
I don't need to be here. I was going to say in the chat room, what was the movie with the? It was a Spielberg movie, one of his early movies where he's been. That truck is chasing the dude in the dart.
Dude in the dart.
Yeah, it was
Cujo?
No, Jason will nail it. That was a pretty crazy ass movie. It's like it takes place in the Cajon Pass. I want to say.
Hey, go potty.
I'm waiting for him to respond. He'll respond.
Go pee. I love how we're looking at Jason and the Outdoor by 4 magazine for our 80s movie trivia. It's our go-to Airwolf Knight Rider duel. It was duel.
We all know Blue Thunder is far superior over Airwolf. I mean, come on.
It's so funny. The 80s
Helicopter
TVs.
fucking-
Yeah. God, what was there? There was one Auto Man or Car Man or something like that. I saw a thing on. I was gonna send it to Jason and I forgot. Or maybe he sent it to me. I don't remember. Shit. Let's see. Once Matt gets back, we'll get started. Anybody in the chat room got anything exciting going on in the world? I get, I don't know, 5 emails a week about people that say they can promote our podcast, and for a small fee, we can make your podcast better. And I'm like, I don't think that you can. Like, it just, it's just, this is.
We're unfixable.
I don't think you understand what you're getting into, and whatever you're charging, it's not enough.
We're starting from the Marianas Trench. Like you can't.
You mean where they dropped Megatron?
Yes, exactly.
The perfect movie. Oh shit, I love it.
I mean, that Beast Wars movie came out, and like, I tried watching it. I tried.
I watched.
I was like, what is going on right now?
I watched it.
I
was
honestly,
sad
there was
the whole
guys
time.
driving around in a car. I'm like, what's going on right now? I think I fell asleep.
Yeah, it was not good.
I didn't know what was going on.
I
I'm like,
told,
this is Transformers, right?
yeah, it was not great. It was
I don't think you see a Transformer for like the first 40 minutes of that movie.
it was more I knew it wasn't going to be great, but I was like,
but bro, I mean, none of the
it was
Transformers movies
bad.
are good, but this one set the new precedent.
I disagree with you. The first 3 were
The Mark Wahlberg one?
the Shia LaBeouf ones were all great. Cinematic genius.
I don't know about that.
If Casey was here, he would defend me on that.
Well, he has a little bias.
He
so.
does have a lot of bias.
He has
all
to say
all
that.
over his backside.
He has to say that.
Did he get it?
Yeah, it was Duel.
The Duel. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was
3, 2, 1. So apparently, the movie Matt was talking about was The Duel, and we had to reach out to Jason, our resident '80s trivia.
that was 70s. That was like I think it was Spielberg's first movie. I want to say it had the sheriff. God, it was like semi-famous actor. He had a TV show at the time or whatever. But yeah, I knew Jason would get it.
Down.
Yeah.
That's all that was needed for Jason to nail it.
And Jason's also saying that he agrees with me that the first Transformers was really good. However, he's saying the rest were trash, and I'm going to tell you, go F yourself. Transformers is cinematic genius, and I wish Casey was here to help me back that up. So thank you so much to Nick for coming on the show and for talking to us for a while. And in a couple days, Matt is going to be.
Oh, what's this Last Starfighter comment? Yeah,
Last Starfighter
that's
was a
great
great
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't cover your face, Jose. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to see
so
it.
good.
No, I was
So-
about to say that replicant that like takes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty weird, dude.
Yeah.
No, that was ahead of its time. It was pretty crazy. With what's his name? Not James Earl Jones. That other guy. That was like the alien in that movie.
It was like a knockoff Star Wars, right?
Jason says he'd rather watch reruns of GoBots while getting a prostate exam than watching another Transformers movie. Man, look, you gave me a ton of shit about talking about my vasectomy.
The last prostate exam, I was asleep, so I don't know.
You're supposed to
Yeah,
be
maybe.
asleep,
Yeah.
Jason. Hey, man. Yeah, exactly.
I can see him.
Where
with
are
his-
you going
with
for
his
prostate
with his
exams?
elbows propped up, his hand on his chin.
I'm ready.
Chin on his hands
Hey.
with a tablet in front of him. How long? I got an hour and a half, guys. Go ahead and take your time.
Prostates are us. I'm here. I brought my DVD.
Speaking of prostates, in 3 days, Matt's gonna
Jesus
be that much closer to his
annual exam.
his annual exam and his senior
good for-
citizen discount.
Yeah, get my AARP card, I guess. I think that allows me like discounts at Denny's,
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
typical, old person venues, So
Coco's, because I like going to Coco's for breakfast. Dude, there's nothing but old people there. I feel right at home. I'm right at home.
Jose, you haven't seen me there already?
No, I mean I go to sleep
Coco's?
at 8 and I wake up like fucking 4:30 every day.
I'm well on my path. I'm well on my way. I've been in training for this for a long time.
So what do you have any plans for your 50th birthday?
Fucking. I think we're gonna go to dinner and celebrate or whatever. Fleming's.
Whoa.
Fleming's, I believe. So
Yeah.
that'll be good.
Tammy asked
I
me
like
what I
that.
wanted
I like
to do
that.
for my 50th, and I said, "Don't die." I just want to make
That's a
it.
good
You're
one.
not that far behind, dude. You are right around the corner.
I am
so-
right behind you. Matt will be the first one to get his AARP card, and then mine should be in the mail processing shortly after.
I like keep deleting like the emails and stuff. It's like, how the fuck did you guys know? Like, I didn't ask for this stuff, but they know.
But
They
I'm only
know.
2 years from 40, which is fucking crazy. to
God,
say,
if I
dude.
could
No,
go
I
back
wish I
to
could go back
40,
to 40. I
It's
was
so
because
crazy to
40
say.
for me,
40, dude?
40
Fuck.
was pre all the surgeries. Like for me, 40 was not bad. 40.
Fuck.
I had a buddy of mine at work who just turned 35 a week ago. He had the same birthday as my younger brother.
Okay.
Actually. And I'm like, oh my God, 35. I was like a softball deity still. Like
35.
I was killing it. I was like, that might have been my peak. I was riding the fuck out of my dirt bike. Like I was still on it at that time.
Yeah, 30. Right about 35 is when I knew I was going to divorce my wife. I didn't know I didn't exactly know when.
Things were looking up.
But I started going to the gym for sure.
Oh yeah.
I looked good
covering your
because
bets.
I looked good because I was going on the market any moment. Like I just didn't know when. Yeah, 35 was great.
I honestly I don't feel the age I'm about to turn. Like mentally I don't.
No.
Physically I feel like there's no fucking way. I always tell, I work with a bunch of kids at work, kids in their like mid 20s or early 30s.
Yep.
If you woke up and you felt like me when you woke up in the morning, you go straight to the fucking hospital. Like something is fucking
A lot of jiu-jitsu
wrong.
guys feel the same
Yeah,
way you
yeah.
do.
Well,
They
there's
wake
a
up
reason
and
for
they're
that.
just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told, talk about feeling that way mentally. I told a woman at work that I work with, we were having this conversation. I said, look, let me tell you about this. Men peak in their maturity at 12.
Yes.
What happens is from 13 to 50, we just get better at hiding it. We just know when not to say it. But trust me, on the backside of 50, it's going back towards
back,
12.
yeah.
That's all. We just know when it's more appropriate to keep it to ourselves. That's the only difference.
Yeah, and then you stop giving a shit and you start.
Yeah,
it
and
just
then
starts-
at some point you're a harmless old man and you can say these things again.
I don't know about harmless. I think you're gonna be a creepy old man.
I'm probably already there. I'm right. I mean,
No, I can tell you, I'm well on my way to being the crotchety old prick that
yeah.
you.
I
you
have known
need
you
me.
for 15 years. You've been the crotchety prick for 15
Yeah, no,
years. It didn't matter what age you were.
No, exactly. So I'm well on my way to being the, like I said, I'm actually looking forward to being the old man that works in the back of the hardware store
Yeah.
at the.
You're Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino.
Yeah, exactly. I know how to fix your shit. You got to deal with my bullshit. Think about that. Think about like today's youth. Like, ooh, he told me I was a fucking asshole, but he told me how to fix my toilet. You know, like, yeah, asshole. I'll help you out, but I'm gonna berate you a little bit for my own enjoyment. And that's it. For my own enjoyment, I'm gonna make whatever minimum wage is and whatever 4 or 5 years until I'm fucking done. You know, I don't know. But that's what I look forward to.
Have you guys watched Shrinking on with Apple on Apple TV?
That was the movie or the
the
show
show
with I watched
Jason Segel and Harrison
I
Ford.
tried it.
I loved it.
Shrinking?
It's called Shrinking.
Yeah.
It's about 3 therapists helping people with their problems. The problem is
What is
the
the
3
problem
pairs, they're complete basket cases. They're complete train wrecks. But Harrison Ford is in it. And at one point I looked at Tammy and I was like, do you know who Harrison Ford reminds me of in this show right now? And she went, Pop. 100% Pop. Crotchety, just gristly and like just, if my dad was a psychiatrist, that's who he would be. It's hilarious.
Maybe he misses calling and he actually is an
Oh God, no. Oh God,
expert psychologist.
No. Oh God, no.
I don't know.
So other than going to get a steak, nothing real exciting.
No, no, there's nothing exciting. It is crazy. I guess if I'm gonna just spout, I don't feel like that old. Like, damn, that seems crazy to me that I'm gonna be 50 years
Because
old.
50, like, do you ever see that?
Because you're supposed to achieve some level of, I guess, in my mind, like, oh, well, I'm going to be so experienced and wise and all this life experience or whatever. And I don't know if that doesn't seem right to me, you know. But then again, who knows, you know. I don't know. People nowadays just play video games and they're locked up in their but I think that's a Gen X thing more than anything.
Have you seen those memes that show you like the ages of the characters on Cheers and Golden Girls and stuff? They were all like 35.
Yeah, they're in their 40s, dude. Dude, Charles Bronson like didn't get big until he was like 40 something.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when you back those days when you watch those shows, and we were kids.
Oh yeah, you're like
those people were 100. They could have been 112 years old, right?
When you're 20, bro, or when you're like 18, 40 is like
50,
a lifetime away, dude.
I'm not gonna make it to 50. Like I honestly like I knew I wasn't gonna make it to 50 when I was a kid. Like and now you're like it's a couple weeks away.
Oh, it's not that. It's the what's his name from the movie. God damn it. Where they're in the pool. This is an 80s movie with the guy that sells oatmeal. Fucking Jesus Christ. Help me. My brain's... No. This is an 80s movie where a bunch of old people are... Cocoon. And what's the guy that stars in Cocoon that sold all the fucking oatmeal and whatever?
Diabetes.
Yes. Who's that guy? That guy was like supposedly...
something Brimley.
Wilford Brimley.
Holy shit! What is wrong with our show?
Okay,
like, Wilford Brimley would like you think he was like, oh my god, what is he in his 60s or whatever? He was like in his 30s when they filmed that movie, and that's why he looked like, oh shit, Wilford Brimley for 40 years looked like the same dude.
Yeah, but I never understood. It's like, as you know, I have diabetes. Why would I know that? Like, I don't.
Because he told you fucking for 20 years, Jose. Why don't you listen to him?
Have you not watched TV after 9 o'clock?
Well, yeah, but he's like, hi, I'm, Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. And he didn't even, as you know,
I have diabetes.
And you didn't
Yeah, but
know.
I don't understand. Why would I know that though?
You should know that because he was
see
telling
the
you
commercial
for 20
somewhere
years. He's been telling you for 20 plus years, and you still didn't know. You should listen. You should listen to this, to us, AARP citizens.
I'm almost there, dude.
Oh, fucking whatever.
Oh, dude.
Give me a break.
Bro, look at
by the time you turn 50, I'll be lucky to be alive.
Yeah. You will be speaking at my funeral. 100%. You'll be on
your TikToks.
Yeah.
No, I don't have TikTok.
You'll be delivering the eulogy for one of us. I guarantee it. Wilford Brimley, by the way, was born in 1934 and died in 2020.
Oh my God, COVID got him.
I don't
you know what? COVID got Wilford Brimley. Like that should have been a national emergency, right?
But it's funny. You're right. He was the same guy for 50 years. Like
yeah. No, he looked the same. Like he just looked like an old man.
Big burly mustache.
Came out of his mom's womb like as an old man.
He's like, I need some Ovaltine. So anyways,
right. So was it?
I feel like it was.
Yeah, but if he was selling oatmeal and he still had diabetes, it's like, why would you?
That didn't mean he was eating the oatmeal, Jose.
Yeah, but he was selling it,
pounding fucking, sugary fucking drinks. He was probably hooked on Monsters, dude.
Yes.
You gotta get that sugar-free stuff.
He knew the difference.
So other than Matt turning old, what is there any? Oh, we didn't go. Casey went wheeling last weekend. We talked about that. He did the.
They went to
Joshua Tree. I guess it's been a while. We need to get something. We need to get some dirt on the tire soon. I don't know what that looks like for the upcoming weeks, but I want to put something on the calendar.
It's been too damn hot, dude.
It's been super hot, and there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with all of us doing different things. So I want to do something, and we talked a little.
Oh, that's right. Nicole and their group, they're going to Gold Mountain.
Now she says that.
No, she sent
me
like a whole itinerary.
I know she says that, but she's also going to see Metallica Friday night with my wife.
Oh no, that ain't. Why would you put that out there?
That's what I told her. That's what I told her. She says, "Hey, do you want to do Gold Mountain?" I was like, first of all, I can't, and second of all, aren't you supposed to be in Metallica?
Somebody in their 30s would say, like, "Oh no, I can do it," and you know what? Maybe they can. I don't know.
No, I am.
I used to do amazing things, like in my 30s, late 20s. You couldn't stop me.
I don't know. I went pretty hard the other night, and it took me a couple days to fucking recover.
What'd you do? We knew we went pretty hard.
Just went out drinking.
Where? Yeah,
Where
no.
did
Where?
you go?
Doesn't matter
What?
where I went.
Yes,
or,
it
Yes, it
does.
does.
It absolutely
It
does.
doesn't
Jose,
matter.
if you
Look,
don't tell me, then
Let's
what,
let's
what
let's,
do I have to live for?
let's
dude?
start with
I live vicariously through you.
let's
Like,
start
tell
with
me
the
about-
city. What city were you
Yeah,
in?
what city was it
Los
in?
Angeles.
Okay.
Very exciting.
Okay.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Very,
yeah.
very, very exciting.
What type of establishment was it?
Mhm.
Country bar?
Don't tell me a
No.
fucking Chili's because I'll fucking get pissed off, Jose.
I was in a very hipster part of town.
Oh,
Um,
Koreatown?
No, Highland Park.
Hold on, real quick. Horse trainer
Oh.
does make a good point. I was going to call that out. He said Nicole has her own group now.
Yeah, she does.
she totally
She
does.
fucking does.
100% she does.
Yeah, it's
Nicole.
like there's a subset that actually has
yes.
taken over.
Yeah,
our fucking-
it's Nicole 2 years ago drove a GMC.
We suck.
Yeah, drove a GMC Terra. What is that? What was that? Terrain.
Oh, no, terrain. Yeah.
2 years ago, Nicole drove a GMC Terrain. Now she's the most badass off-roader we know.
But yeah, so I went a little hard with the vodka club sodas, and yeah, it took a couple days to recover.
yeah.
Yeah, that guy was out.
Were you throwing axes at stuff again?
No, there's no axe throwing this time.
Were you throwing?
But that's what I'm
other
saying.
things?
Like
Lot of-
I already
lot of-
know. I already know some of your stories and whatever. You go throw axes at things while you're having cocktails with people. You're having an exciting life.
I don't know.
And you're very cryptic. Telling it. Dude, I want to know about it.
Well, we can talk about it off the air.
Oh, I'm trying to make our podcast
Yeah.
interesting.
I know.
Nobody wants to hear about that shit.
Are you kidding me?
Are you
Everybody
kidding?
wants to hear about it.
All of us are old and married. We do want to hear about this. So
I took my kids to K1 and, whatever. My,
Yeah.
the Monty was there and we had a good time. But that's nothing like, all right, you know what's sad is I'm still recovering from that because it was like the G-forces or something in that
Yeah,
car.
like when you said I'm sore still.
well,
from
it was
go-karting.
you trying to fit into a go-kart is what it was.
Number one, yes. I'm like, why are these pedals up so close?
The
I'm not- this
go-karts
is
are
not very
made for
comfortable.
15-year-old
They're
kids.
for kids, and I'm shoehorning my ass into this thing, and it's like, well, I can't let my oldest beat me, so I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'll push him. I'll put him into the rails.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
There's a video there's a video of people at a golf cart place. This guy's, it's like he's got like the chest cam and he's driving. He's got his hands on the steering wheel and he comes around a corner and the guy on the inside comes tight, hits him, jumps up onto his cart and and goes right off. And then he goes, oh, and he shakes his hand and his finger is gone. The cart
Oh
that
my
hit him
God.
came up and landed on his finger on the steering wheel and pinched it right off.
So that happens. I would have done that to my son if need be. You're not getting by me.
There's also that viral video of that dirt bike guy. He's like, they're just like on a fire road, and like a stick came up and it went through the front of his boot.
Yes, seen that one.
Yeah, they're just like riding on a dirt road.
Yep.
And the stick came up and it went through his boot.
Yeah.
like through his foot.
Through the top of his foot out the backside, and there's another mountain bike one where similar, but the branch went through through the pants at his thigh.
Oh my!
Missed his thigh though, and it was the vampire spike from my tire a couple years ago, and you're looking at the video when you first see it, you're like, oh my god, and he pulls it out, and then he moves the pants, and you're like, okay, it got the pants, but it didn't get his leg. There's some gnarly stuff. I don't know. At this point, I don't believe I can go wheeling on Saturday. As much as I would like to go and watch Nicole in her Ranger on 35s show me up in my Ranger on 33s, that sounds super fun to me.
Well, she's got the what level icon set up now? Like
17.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
level
I
25.
I think that her suspension is the same as mine.
Yeah, it's just,
the difference is
she's
she's got a
big-timey.
spacer and tires.
She's big time.
Yeah, so you get your ass destroyed. She'll
Toast.
whoop your ass. She might. Well, actually, she could keep up with my truck now. But when my truck was running, maybe.
Yeah,
she'd
your
keep
truck
up
doesn't go very fast at this
with-
point.
Yeah, so all right. Well, how good is that truck at growing weeds like through the wheels? We'll probably never know.
We will never know.
Whose fault is that?
Yeah, we'll never know. All right. Well, I don't think we have a. Not only do I have a locker, Nicole, but I have terrain modes in my FX4, and your regular old Ranger doesn't. The
You're all upset because
Dude, I am.
Yours.
I
Her
am.
truck's better than
her
yours.
truck is better, and it makes me
Well,
mad.
you put a storage house or
I know,
storage
I know.
thing on the back of yours.
I
Nobody
know.
I mean,
told
that's
you to
cool
do that.
when you got to sleep, but then it's not cool when you got to
Yeah.
kind of fuck around in the desert, you know?
Nobody's sleeping anymore. That's all
Nobody,
about
nobody
it.
sleeps.
Okay, well, we're good. We thank you to Nick and for joining us, and thank you to everyone in the chat room. And again, Nicole, I say with all the love in the world, F off. She sent me a text message. She's like, "Well, F you too." I think that's gonna be our new sign off. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Nicole, fuck off.
F off.
All right.
I'm not opposed to it. Didn't she tell me I should give her like the radio I got or whatever? Like, Matt should just give it to me. All right, you know what, Nicole? I'm down with that. F off, I guess. Yeah. How about that?
That's gonna be our new slogan, Trail Chasers Podcast. F you, Nicole. All right, everybody, except for Nicole.
That had a deep cut.
Everybody except for Nicole.
I just continued on the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night.
I don't mean that, Nicole. You're the best.